But I am still fucking here. We have missed the introduction. It is appropriate. It is necessary. It is a Wednesday as it is, and it always should be. And we are back here to talk about so many things, mostly related to NFL, because there's so much NFL news going on at this point in time. We're at that point in the cycle where it's like we're in the point where most NBA teams are either competing for the playoffs or tanking. And every night you got a boatload of mismatches between teams that give a shit and teams that don't give a shit. And it's a bunch of kind of blah. And then we're in, the NFL offseason where, there's combine stuff going on. There's, teams making moves, some trades, some releases. So it's kind of a weird part of the schedule. We're about to hit a great part of the schedule. March Madness is coming. The NBA playoffs are coming. Good things are ahead. And so, of course, the most appropriate thing that we could do is bomb Iran. That's what's happening in the United States right now is we're bombing Iran. Because the only thing that we could think of that might actually distract from the Epstein files is to, blow the shit out of another country. Because that's the American way to handle everything. When and if your pedophile ring is exposed, just bomb another country. That's the way the United States operates. Seems to have worked very well for us so far. Why would we quit now? And it's pretty unbelievable to me that, the people that we've been saying that, again, once we get past all this, and again, once the people who are committing war crimes are going to be held to account, it seems to be very fascinating that they wanted to add literal war crimes to that. Like they added, they're just like, let's add bombs to this list of war crimes we've committed, like actual literal illegal war. Because this is not a war that was authorized by Congress. This is not something that is legally happening. This is just something that our douchebag piece of shit loser president is doing because the military won't not listen to him, because the, Secretary of Defense is a piece of shit. And apparently, unfortunately, our soldiers just don't feel safe enough to say no, or apparently want to do things. I mean, I don't know. I got to assume if you're bombing another country, you're happy to do that. Like, I can't imagine that anyone's like, literally carrying out a bombing raid, like under duress. You're like, I'm so sad about this. I really doubt it. Like, they've probably been waiting their whole life to go full Top Gun, and they're going to take that opportunity no matter what happens. And that's disappointing because Top Gun is a movie and these are real people. And, again, whatever you think about, the various governments of the Middle East, the people who suffer when you bomb these countries are not the various governments of the Middle East. It's individual people. Now, sure, we did kill the leaders of Iran. Hooray for us. We got them. But there are so many other individual people. Apparently, the other media, not American media, but other media that I follow has reported that we bombed a girls' school. So, that's a lot of fun, killing innocent children. And, the other fun part is then Miss Rachel stands up and says children shouldn't die anywhere. And a bunch of Zionists go, oh, so you hate Israel? She didn't even say anything about Israel. She just said no one should kill children. And then Zionists take that as a cue to say, oh, so you hate it. Like we are so unbelievably fucked by the most ridiculous people in our society who stand up and just scream the loudest. And therefore they are somehow an authority on any particular topic. It's bullshit. It's nonsense. It is something that we are stuck dealing with all the time. But again, what I find fascinating here is that, again, Donald Trump and his ilk, I mean, Trump is, he doesn't, it's whatever. At this point for him, he's just like, who gives a shit? But the people who work for him truly seem to believe they're going to be in power forever. They won't, but they truly seem to believe that, because bombing an independent nation and killing its leaders when you've recently invaded another independent nation and kidnapped its leader is really not going to be looked upon well when you eventually go to trial. Like, this is one of those things where, like, a rapper is like on his album talking about crimes that he committed. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's legitimately what we've got going on here, because these guys are just advertising what they're doing. They're enjoying what they're doing. They're fine with it. They're fine that they're breaking all the laws because, again, they just think that they're never going to be brought to account. They believe they'll be in power forever, that Donald Trump will be king, that there's no chance that they can ever lose an election, blah, blah, blah. And they're so unbelievably wrong that when the hammer drops, It will not be like I mean, I don't even know what term to use to describe the impact that's going to be felt, but maybe a nuclear blast is appropriate for what that's going to fucking feel like. But unfortunately for us, as the doomsday clock ticks closer to midnight, using the term nuclear blast is really not fun. And I'm glad that I live, in the middle of nowhere, because if I lived in a major city right now in the United States, I'd be terrified because we have the dumbest people in the world in charge and we're pissing off everyone. And I'm terrified for what that means for American citizens around the world and here. And it's just like, my God, let's just find a way to make it to these midterms. Let's pray for an impeachment, and let's pray for, I'd love to make it to next year. Let's go with that. Because some days it feels like we might not. But hey, when it feels like we might not make it to next year, there's only one thing that you can do. And there's only one person you can talk to. And that is the person whose name is going to become a featured name on this show because he's here every goddamn time. So let's talk to him. Let's intro him.
Finally, the bee has come back to the Blunt Doctor Show. What's up, everybody? Wasn't here last week, but we back at it once again, bringing y'all all the sports takes straight from Toronto, Canada. What's up?
You're in a safe location. You're outside the United States.
I don't know,
place.
man. Sometimes they feel like they want to be the 52nd or 51st state. I don't know.
Well, you might need to worry about us. That's fair. You could worry about us, but I don't think you need to worry about the rest of the world because everyone. What we do as Americans when we're around the world and people are like, "Are you an American?" We're like, "No, I'm a Canadian." So that they won't, know, because we don't want anyone to know that we're American. That's really this, or if you can do a British accent, but I can't. I'm like, "Oi, mop on the pip pop." I don't fucking know. I'm not doing a British accent, so that's about as good as it gets. Oi, mop on the pip pop. Yep, that's my British accent for
there's a painting in it.
Yeah, see, that's so much better. Like that's. Oh yeah, accents and me don't mix. I end up like Joey on Friends when he tried to do a Southern accent and it comes out Jamaican. Like that's and so that's why I don't do accents, because it ends up sounding like weird, incorrect, and or in the worst cases racist. And so you just have to
man.
You got to be really careful doing voices as a white person, because you can't, you don't want to be crossing any boundaries. You want to do like an old white person voice. That's like an older version of yourself. That's like what you want to do as a white person doing voices, because otherwise it's real sketchy real quick,
Hey man, I was out in Detroit last month, and I remember hearing the way they talking, like the way they say certain words. I'm like, I've never been around enough Americans to like really realize y'all got a heavy accent. But then I listen to you and it's like, you sound sort of like me. So it's like, is it area exclusive thing? Like, was I just in that part of Detroit? Or,
well, my mother always used to say I talk television and that I had no accent of any kind, of any discernible kind. So, but honestly, like the thing about Detroit that we forget is it is the Midwest. Like Detroit is the Midwest, and so there definitely are people there who have that. Voices are fun to do. Voices are the best. You just have to be careful about the ones you do, because again, and because it changes over time. Like what was funny, I remember the time that I wrote an article for a blog about NFL divisional playoff games, but I wrote it from the perspective of the North Korean dictatorship. And at the time, I thought that was fucking hysterical. I wrote it in the same crazy broken English that they use on their website, where they're like, we're going to burn down the capitalist pig dog United States. They write all these things on their website. And I wrote this like completely insane thing. And then a few years later, people were like, hey, maybe this is racist. And I was like, oh, really? I didn't even like I was trying to make fun of the KCNA. But they were like, no, you're making fun of all Koreans. I was like, I swear I'm not. I literally love everything about Korea. except North Korea.
Man.
Now there's going to be someone coming on and be like, "What's wrong with North Korea?" So many things, by the way. We're so off topic, and that's my show. That's what we do here.
So
we just get further and further off topic. Where in the NFL offseason hierarchy, what is of all of the stuff I sent you, of anything you've heard, what is the news that either shocks you the most or you think is the dumbest or the best? Like, what news are you like, okay, that shit's crazy? Like, I'm very curious. Like what to you is the most shocking thing of everything that's come out in the last few days?
I was surprised by that McDuffie trade.
Me too.
Yeah. Like I remember I was taking a nap at the time and I woke up and I seen the notification on my phone. I'm like, oh, that's kind of seemed kind of out of nowhere, considering like they didn't pay L'Jarius Sneed. I don't think they're going to pay Jalen Watson. They let Shavarius Ward go. I thought this was going to be the guy surely that they were going to pay of all like their drafted DBs. And it seems like they're going the Bill Belichick route of trade them away earlier than later.
Well, they certainly haven't been paying corners. I mean, that's the thing is the one thing the Chiefs have done in this run pretty much always is they've cheaped out on the secondary. Like they've and really the receivers room too over time. But they have always never paid safeties really since Eric Berry. You know, they haven't paid any corners. Like you said, they've traded everyone away when they've reached free agency. Sneed, Ward, now McDuffie. Like the crazy thing to me, and this like dates back to like 15 years ago, and they gave Sean Smith like a 1-year deal. Like they like literally, as an organization, they value corners a lot less than the rest of the league does. Or at the very least, they value high dollar corners less. They seem to be fine drafting them. They're happy to invest draft picks in corners, and they seem to understand it is an important position, but they seem to believe, you know, we're going to play this dude for 3 years, get the most out of him, and then trade him. All right.
You remember even they had Marcus Peters at one point too.
Right. Yep. Yeah, that was, and he was supposed to be like the final piece. And, you know, they've done these things a lot. You know, they've made these moves. I'm not surprised the Rams would do this. This is exactly a Rams kind of move. Yeah, this is a Rams move. We're going all in. You know, we're going to try to win a Super Bowl and that makes sense. They were extremely close. You still got Stafford playing some of the best ball in his career. You know, you've got Puka Nacua. You've got Devontae Adams. You know, you've got a good team. I understand this move for the Rams, but even with the history of the Chiefs doing this does feel like they're punting this upcoming season to me. What do you think?
I see why you say that. I think it also depends on what they elect to do in the offseason as well, and who they use those draft picks on. Because it was a 29th and a couple mid-rounders, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not a bad value trade.
Yeah.
It's not a bad value trade for the Chiefs. I don't hate them doing it. It just shocks me because, let's be honest, what has kept this team in contention the last few years has been their defense.
Yeah.
They have not been the offensive juggernaut that we think of when we think of the Kansas City Chiefs in 3 or 4 years. 3 years, probably.
Yeah.
And so I think we just kind of think, well, the offense will come back. It'll come back. And it really never has. Yeah. And their defense has kept them in it, you know, anchored by Chris Jones. They've done all these amazing things. And so even with their history of doing this, you'd think at some point you're going to keep one of these guys, and the all-pro would be the one that you're going to keep, you would think.
Yeah.
And so when you're like, nope, we're still punting on this. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I mean, there's no realistic way that Patrick Mahomes is going to come back this year and be great.
Yeah, there's no guarantee of that. But is he coming back mid-season, or are they expecting him back on the first week?
Right. That's the question. Like, that's the thing. It's like, if he's somehow back week 1, he's going to be nowhere near himself.
Mm-hmm.
And if he comes back when he's healthy, it should be much later in the season. And by that point, the season might be over for them anyway.
Yeah.
So I just don't, I'm not saying it's even dumb of them to punt on this season. It's just one of those things where it's like Kelsey doesn't have years to wait. You know, he might have to go somewhere else if he wants to play for one more Super Bowl, or he legit just might have to sit out a season. He might have to pull a Gronk and retire and then unretire because, like, just
he's
in
not
truth,
Gronk, man. He ain't.
No,
Gronk.
he's not Gronk, but he's not Gronk at all. But he doesn't view it that way, right? Like we always look at, if we look at it through the lens of what we think versus what they think, those things are going to be completely different. Travis Kelce still thinks he's an elite player. He is not, but he still believes that he is one. And I don't think that he wants to do anything other than play for a Super Bowl. And the only opportunity to do that is going to be with another team, or, you know, potentially in 2 years, theoretically with the Chiefs. But I mean, you know, again, if he sits out a year, maybe you get healthy, maybe you get a little, I mean, Gronk did look better after sitting out a season and a half or whatever it was. Like,
he was also younger.
He was younger.
Because
he was younger.
They are the same age. That's something to keep in mind.
It is true. It is true. And I'm not saying that Kelsey could come back and be an elite player again, but, you know, I mean, he's still got hands, and when you're big and you've got hands, you can still be a red zone target.
But what
and
made
again,
him
how
great
he
was
views it
his
is not how
movement.
he views it.
What made him great was his ability to move like a wide receiver at the tight end position.
Yeah.
So what does he look like if he is a tight end moving like a tight end? You get what I'm
looks
saying?
like Jimmy Graham at the end of his career.
There we go.
I mean, you know, and that's fine. I mean, again, what he perceives as his, you know, top tier ability versus what we perceive it to be, those are very different things. Because, you know, again, you're a hater, you don't know. I've got rings. Okay. I just think, dude, I think it's smart for them to punt this season. Like, Mahomes is hurt. The smart thing to do would be for them to basically advance as much money onto the cap this year as they can, eat as much dead money as they can, bring in as many young kids as you can, play as much young talent, develop guys, trade every veteran you can, and build a team for 2027. Like, I think that's the thing to do here, because, you know, they're not going to compete for a Super Bowl this year. And if you want the back half of Patrick Mahomes' career to be anything like the back half of Tom Brady's career, then you need to prepare for that. And you cannot do that by extending this window as long as possible when this window is probably already closed.
See, that's the thing. Also, another question I feel like we're not asking is, how much longer does Andy Reid want to coach? Because the thing about the back half of Brady's career, Belichick was still on the younger side for that back half. Andy Reid, how much years does Mahomes have with Andy Reid too? You know what I mean?
Also true. I mean, I think Andy Reid could step away at any point. Like, I wouldn't be. He is basically. There are people who would say that he's a better coach than Bill Belichick. I'm not saying I agree, but there are people who would say it, and that's pretty much all you can hope to accomplish as a coach at this point. Because nobody's going to get 9 rings. Like, it's not. I mean, maybe someone will one day, but you know what I'm saying. Like, it's just, you know, what Andy Reid has is a great coaching tree that Bill Belichick does not have. Bill Belichick's coaching tree is not nearly as good as Andy Reid's coaching tree. Andy Reid has a great coaching tree, and he has multiple Super Bowls now. So, you know, Andy Reid can make a lot of really good arguments about what he's done for the league. So there's not much more for him to accomplish. You know, I don't know. Like, I don't know the dude, so I don't know his level of competitiveness. I don't know that he, you know, I don't know like what his drive is. I don't know if he has to win another one or whatever, but I do think that's a really valid point. And if you're the Chiefs, it's like, who takes over? They're also moving their team into Kansas from Missouri, which I know is not a football concern, but is a stadium concern. But nonetheless, like, that shit still throws things into, because then it's like the business side gets more involved because they are concerned about how much money is being spent because things need to be put toward the stadium. And so it's like things just get thrown out of whack more. And
Yeah.
so Mahomes is injured. Kelsey is old. Andy Reid is at the end of whatever. The team is moving. Like, the Chiefs dynasty is probably over. Like, I don't think it's unreasonable. In fact, I'll give you one. Patrick Mahomes plays for another team within the next 4 seasons because the Chiefs at some point are, well, listen, dude, if Tom can play for another team, then so can Pat Mahomes. So that's all there is to that. And Peyton Manning played for another team. I mean, it happens
too.
Montana too. Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, all of these guys who were fucking icons of their franchises moved on. So, damn near the only one who didn't was Drew Brees. So,
well, he started with the Chargers, to be fair, though.
That's a good point, but he wasn't an icon with the Chargers. But fair enough that he did. And in Brees' defense, though, he never wanted to leave. They moved on from him. True. So, he would have stayed there. But all those things aside.
You ask Brady, he'd say that the Patriots moved on from him as well.
And that's true. They literally didn't make him an offer until he basically had already agreed to terms with the Bucs.
Yeah.
And they made him a bullshit offer that was below market. And it was basically what the Bucs offered him. But they basically waited until he basically had already left and then made him a bullshit offer. And he's just like, you guys have clearly moved on. You don't want me anymore. And then he went and won another Super Bowl and proved his goddamn point. And Bill's still trying to fucking figure shit out in UNC. And, I don't think that this Patriots team, this Super Bowl run was fun, but I don't think that, if anything, again, it showed the greatness of Brady yet again, because Brady in his second year went and won a Super Bowl. Drake May went to a Super Bowl, but he was completely inept in that Super Bowl. And it's really fair to say that if Bo Nix had been healthy, the Broncos probably win that game because Drake May was horrible in that game too. And Drake May has shown us his ceiling right now, not his all-time, not his career ceiling, but he hit his ceiling for the season because he simply could not adjust to any sort of on-the-fly defensive changes that the Seahawks were throwing at him. And, he just got crushed. And, the offensive line had, their worst couple games of the season, and it just is what it is. That being said, again, I think the Chiefs are pretty much done. The big news here, obviously, in Phoenix is Kyler Murray going to be cut by the Cardinals unless they can find a trade partner, which seems extremely unlikely, unless he agreed to some sort of rework contract, which just really seems very unlikely. What do you think there's any opportunity for him to revamp his career as a starter somewhere else? Or do you think it's like he needs to just go back up Lamar Jackson because that's kind of what he's going to be? Or what do you think?
I was talking to it with one of my homies just yesterday. I gave him 2 options. He could eat, or actually 3. The third one was kind of satirical, but one of the options was potentially Minnesota because there's already an offense there, and it's like if he can just play better than what JJ McCarthy was, that's an improvement than what they had last year.
That's the one I was going to ask you about.
I'm sure he can outdo Carson Wentz too, because Wentz did win like 1 or 2 games for them. I even said Miami. Miami's a potentiality. You still got Jalen Waddle, Devon Achane over there.
I would have liked that a lot more if it was still Mike McDaniel, though. True. Like I think Mike McDaniel would be the kind of guy who could utilize Kyler a lot better, but it is what it is.
And then the other was, but go back to the MLB. The MLB's there. I'm pretty sure he still has a contract with them, or something of the sort.
His rights are owned by Oakland. Yeah.
There you go.
What about Cleveland?
That could be a spot, but the Cleveland curse is still real, man.
Of course it is. But do you think they're locked into Shador? And believe I'm a Shador guy. I love Shador. I'm a Shedeur guy. I'm not hating on Shedeur at all. I don't know that they're committed to him.
He could sit for a year and learn under Kyler. Let Kyler take all the flack for the Browns' ineptitude this year. So it's an opening. It is an opening.
I mean,
I just feel like that's a bit of like if Kyler wants to prove he can still ball, I think going to Cleveland would be the hardest place to go and do that. I think if we were ranking, it'd be Minnesota, Miami, and then Cleveland.
If I was Kyler, I would be all in on doing every single thing I could to get to Minnesota. Because number one, again, I hate to slander him. He won Michigan a national championship. I love JJ McCarthy. He is not an NFL quarterback. Yeah. I have said it since he was in college. I do not understand what anyone saw in him that made him believe he would be an NFL quarterback. I don't see it at all. He was so bad last year that the Vikings are basically already moving on. You never see guys move on from starters after 1 year unless they are just so bad. And JJ was so bad. And again, I feel terrible because he's a Michigan guy and I hate to hate on my guys. Yeah. Like I really do. The problem is that he cannot read an NFL defense and he does not have any touch on his pass. And he has not been able to solve either of those two problems at all. It means he cannot throw in the mid-range at all. And all he can do is go deep or, like dink and dunk it. Like, honestly, the only way you could find success with him is if you put him in a Joe Flacco offense where there's nothing but heave the ball deep or just check it down. There's nothing in the middle. And again, that's not what, a 23-year-old kid wants to do. If I was Kyler Murray, I would be doing anything I could to get to Minnesota because, like, O'Connell is the guy who can make. I mean, he made it work with Josh Dobbs, man. Like Kevin O'Connell he's great. And again, I know Kyler Murray's tiny. I know all these things, but the thing is, everything gets forgotten and gets buried. The Cardinals were 9-0. Kyler Murray was leading every single MVP discussion. It was literally the talk of the whole thing. Then he gets hurt, misses a couple of games, and they have a bad playoff game. The next year he's hurt again, and Cliff Kingsbury ends up getting fired. But everyone forgets that Kyler was literally trending towards an MVP. He was literally leading, and I'm not making that up. You can go back and look at articles. And again, mid-season MVP poll articles or whatever. But the point is that people were like, wow, this dude's the best player in the NFL this season. So I just don't think that there's nothing for him. And I just think if I was him, I'd be doing anything I could to get to Minnesota. And yeah, I mentioned the baseball thing before. I think that's funny. I think it's like such a funny idea just because Tebow did it. But realistically, like, we have seen Kevin O'Connell work some fucking wonders here. Although the way that Sam Darnold played this season makes you wonder how much was that Kevin O'Connell and how much was it just Sam Darnold really learned that year he was in San Francisco.
Very true. That is
that's interesting. So that leads me to my other question that I was going to ask you is, do you think this is like the Vikings need to win a playoff game this year, right? Or do you think because at some point Kevin O'Connell, you got to win something in the playoffs?
Oh, for sure, because the Bears are about to lap you. The Detroit Lions are coming back down to earth a little bit. The Packers are, but I think mainly the Bears lapping them is the main thing in all of this.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, I really wasn't a big Caleb guy, and still, his completion percentage is horrible.
Yes,
let's not forget that his consistency is still way below average. But
I was calling him the Joe Montana of Tim Tebow's. Pass accuracy is terrible throughout the entire game, but when it's a fourth quarter in a close game, much like that 2011 Broncos team, he just makes magic happen.
He is very clutch. He is incredibly clutch. It is so true. And some of the throws he makes in clutch moments are unreal. It's just like, can you do any of that through the first half of the game? Could you just and they don't even have to be spectacular. Just make a good throw, hit a, and it's just, I really, Ben Johnson did an incredible job. And that's the thing, dude, is that like the Bears are certainly ahead of schedule from where anyone would have expected to be, and they won a playoff game.
Yep.
And the Vikings keep getting there and keep losing to teams that are, in a lot of cases, in multiple cases, worse than them.
Mm-hmm.
And
you got Justin Jefferson on that team too, so it's like
when you have the best receiver or second best receiver in the league,
at
a certain point, like you're an offensive genius and you've got Justin Jefferson, but you're still losing. It's like maybe he's not a genius.
Yeah.
And so that's, where it comes down to like, I really do think, because I was surprised when they fired the GM. Mm-hmm. I didn't think that he had done a horrible job. I thought that he had done a decent job, but that
they still
quarterback choice.
Do you have him, TJ Hawkinson, still?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is another reason he did give Hawkinson big money. That was a bad deal. But he also did a lot of other things that were really good. And I mean, most people would not have paid Sam Darnold $35 million. Like, like the Seahawks did. I mean, they were right. They won a Super Bowl. Yeah. But most people were like, oh, man, I can't believe the Seahawks did that. That's crazy. Now they're going to have to give him a huge extension, too.
I was one of them.
Yeah, I was, too. I was like, he's going to turn back into, regular Sam Darnold. You'll never get the Jets off him, but he won a Super Bowl, dude. But how fun is it that even when we lose a Super Bowl in this case, like, Jets fans have to watch their former quarterback be the one to do it. It's just like, no matter what. And some of them are like, yeah, a former Jets player. I'm sure they were like rooting for him or whatever, but it's like, in their soul, they're sitting there like, fucking of course. Yeah. Fucking of course. Like Sam Darnold winning a Super Bowl with the Seahawks and then beating the Patriots is like the most amazing thing in the world for Seahawks fans, but it's just like gut shot for Jets fans.
Oh yeah,
because it's just like yet another reminder of what could have been. I really need to get my Jets hate show going. Like, I really have so much Jets hate to get out.
Definitely have to tune into that one just to hear the Jets slander on.
There's just every week this season I'm gonna do a Jets post game show, and I'm gonna be like, let's talk about all the stupid shit that the Jets did today. And it will be like the highest rated YouTube show ever because Jets fans will come on and tell me that they're going to find me and kill me and all these other things. Yeah, absolutely legendary.
Oh, man.
I cannot wait. To watch yet another disastrous season of Jets football. It's going to be so fun. So you agree McConnell's on the hot seat? I think so too. Yeah. Or O'Connell's on the hot seat. Like I just think, I think even one playoff win might save the job. If they got to an NFC championship, I think he'd definitely be safe. But I just think I don't know what they're going to do because the quarterback situation is so horrible. And that's what kills me is that you solved it. Yeah. Like solving the quarterback situation is the hardest thing to do in the NFL. And the Vikings fucking did it, and then they let him walk because of a rookie that they hadn't seen play. Oh my God. It's just one of the worst choices you could have made. I mean, the Vikings literally could be the Super Bowl champions right now. If they had kept Darnold, that could literally be the season. And it's just it's truly
Brian Flores still the defensive coordinator there too?
I believe so. Yeah.
They got a solid blitz with that guy calling it.
He may have. Let's see. Actually, now I'm curious. Is he? I believe. Yeah. No. He is. I thought so. I thought he stayed another year. They've paid quite a bit to keep him around because he's a hell of a coordinator.
Oh, for sure.
He got a raw deal in Miami for sure when he was fired. That was some bullshit.
Yeah.
But Miami's a dysfunctional organization, so
clearly.
This one hurts my heart, but it must be discussed. Mike Evans potentially moving on from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He hasn't, it's not over yet, but he's basically said he wants, a featured role in the offense. He wants good money, doesn't need great money. and he wants, a quarterback he trusts, and he wants a chance at a Super Bowl. And again, the Bucs have not been ruled out. I think it's fair. He likes Baker. He trusts Baker. He knows he'll get a high volume of targets because Baker will throw him the ball. Mm-hmm. But I wonder, because I wouldn't be shocked if Mike takes longer to sign because he kind of waits to see what everyone does and what team, kind of has. If you wait too long, there's no money left, obviously.
Yeah.
But you want to know what team is going to have, a good defense, a good offense, other guys around you. And I'm curious what you think of. We obviously don't know what he thinks of in terms of a quarterback he trusts or whatever. But I was wondering what you think of in terms of good landing spots for him. Like, what is a team that if you were Mike Evans, you're like, I want to go here?
Well, based on what he said, I took that as he sees the writing on the wall, then that Emeka Egbuka is going to be the guy on this team going forward. That's how I took it. But in terms of who he should go to, I think there's two options. I think if you want targets, if he signed with Buffalo right now, he's their best wide receiver by a mile.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then
I hadn't even thought about that.
I've got to include my bias and say, yo, we just cut Stephon Diggs. Why not give that position to Mike Evans?
Yeah. That makes sense. Both those teams make sense.
Yeah. Those are the only teams I could think of where he would get the most targets on.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely the thing. It's like if he wants to be the number one option, there are limited teams where that is possible. And the Bills and Patriots are right at the top of that list. That's definitely true. I wonder how he feels about cold weather teams. Of course, the way that we're going in the league, it's fucking half the league is domes anyway. But that's a very, because they're the usual suspect. Like, people mention the Chiefs, but again, it's like Mahomes is going to be out the whole year. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. People talk about again, I've seen the Patriots mentioned.
You know what's funny about that when you mentioned Kansas City? It's like for the longest time I've heard, oh, let him get DeAndre Hopkins. Let's see what he does with him there. Oh, let him get Odell. Let's see what he does with him. And it's like he has Rashee Rice. He has Xavier Worthy. He had Marquez. It's like, why are you trying to give him one of these old, washed up guys and expecting him to turn shit into gold? Those guys aren't game changers at this point.
Right. And I mean, at a certain point, the Tyreek Hill thing was a mistake. And, yeah. I mean, maybe not that specific transaction, but believing that you don't need in your prime veterans around Mahomes on offense, and that you can just win, like you said, with, they had 35-year-old DeAndre Hopkins and they had, all these dudes that, towards the end of their career, like you said, instead of, bringing in, and again, they spent a lot of money on defense. I understand that. And again, the Tyreek Hill transaction itself was not necessarily a mistake. They won a Super Bowl after that. But what I'm saying is the thought process of we don't need another prime playmaker has cost them a in their offense. Now, again, they've still been, it's just the last 2 years that they didn't win a Super Bowl. And Mahomes was hurt this year, but I do think that they've been trying to make Mahomes do, like you said, he's just do everything by himself.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, that shit runs out.
Well, it worked when Kelsey was still at the top of his game. Now that he's two All-Pro.
But I mean, when you have two All-Pros, that's a whole other thing. It's different when you ask one dude, because that's the thing. It's like when Brady had Edelman, who, maybe Edelman wasn't an all-pro, but like they had the mind meld, then they could make it work even when the rest of the offense around them wasn't awesome because they had what was going on. When Brady had Moss, they could always, figure out a way. It was the same thing with Manning and Harrison, Manning and Eric Decker, whatever, like, Demaryius Thomas. When you've got at least one of your guys, you can get it going a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think, they've been like, well, Travis Kelce is still that guy. And we've seen that he's not. And now I'm just very interested. The Chiefs are going to be very interesting because, well, for one, hopefully we won't have to see Taylor Swift in every single football game this fucking year. That would be really nice. And it's just going to be interesting to see what they do. Like, again, I think the right thing is shut Mahomes down for the year, retool the team, eat a bunch of dead money, let Kelce go, just bite 10 bullets in 1 year and rebuild this thing. But, I don't want the Chiefs to like get back to being good. Yeah. I would like them to stay down. So I hope they do none of this. I hope they give.
If they are smart, they will listen to us.
Yeah, if they're smart, they'll give Kelce $100 million extension, and they'll go sign Tyler Algier for $50 million a season. He's due for a breakout. That's what the Chiefs need to be successful. That's what I see in their future. I'm very excited for that. I gotta agree with you though. I honestly, the Bills and Patriots for Mike Evans gonna be very interesting to see. That could come down to like which quarterback does he like more between Drake May and Josh Allen, and that's a very interesting question because the question of their age matters less because Mike Evans is only, maybe 2 more seasons. Yeah. So, Josh Allen being 30 doesn't really matter. Drake may be kind of too young. I would hate to see Mike Evans playing for the Bills though, man. That would suck for me. Like that'd be so sad. Like, especially if they won, like I'd be happy for Mike if they won, but having to see Mike Evans like lifting a Bills Super Bowl trophy would be horrible.
Do you see that clip of what's his name? Colin Coward's bouncing guy, McIntyre, I think they were talking about. He's like, oh well, Mike Evans is looking for a chance to win his first ring, and I'm like, oh, you dumbass.
Oh my god, dude! Like they just hire these dumbass people who know nothing and they let them give authoritative opinion. It drives me nuts, dude, listening to people. Like it's like when Stephen A like decides he's going to talk about football. I'm like, you don't need to do that, man. You don't know what you're saying. Just don't let it go. Basketball somewhat maybe, but please and he's like the highest paid dude at ESPN and he just says whatever the fuck comes to his mind. He gets guys' names wrong, and they're like, "This guy's a genius." Like that's the thing that I like. Him for Stephen A. getting paired with Skip Bayless was like the greatest thing in the world to ever happen to him because Skip Bayless is such a fucking moron that he convinced the world that Stephen A. was a genius. And, like now Stephen A. wants to like run for president. There's like legitimately people who want him to run for president, dude. That's this country right now. This dude who like, and again, like I don't hate Stephen A. Okay, he is entertaining as hell. He is funny. He occasionally makes some really good points. It's just funny to present him as a serious analyst instead of a fun talking like. Presenting Stephen A. as a serious analyst is like presenting me as a serious analyst. It's like that's not real. Like I say crazy bullshit because it's funny. That's also what Stephen A. does. Like it's just, you know what I mean? Like, listen, and I love the guy. I'm just saying, like,
we saw how petty he was over some small dispute between him and LeBron. Can you imagine him and his little petty disputes with Kim Jong-un over there? It could get ugly.
Kim Jong-un, I'm talking to you directly, brother. I want you to know that I've got the nukes trained on you right now. And I want you to know that I am very serious about this situation. Can you not see him doing that shit? Just doing a president.
You don't want to make an enemy out of me. I promise you that.
Dude, that I would be like, I'd be like, yeah, let's go, President Stephen A. Like, I'd be on his side in that moment. But dude, you know what? I'm changing my mind. Because this is what we need. We need a president who directly challenges other world leaders to boxing matches. That's exactly like JFK style. Like the fact that America is so crazy that we don't like spend 25 minutes every day talking about what a badass JFK was. And I'm not talking about because of Marilyn Monroe. I just mean this dude literally did that. Like he literally had nuclear weapons trained on American cities. It was like, go for it, motherfucker. I'll wipe you off the face of the earth. And the Russians were like, all right, never mind. Like that's like the most quintessential badass American moment ever. And these people are obsessed with fat boy Donald Trump. It's weird. Our country is dumb as shit. Our country is dumb as fucking hell. That is literally the most American badass moment ever is JFK. And these guys are like, oh, Donald Trump. And then they wrap a truck in. Oh my God. American. We're so stupid. The one thing I'm glad that Donald Trump did was he exposed how stupid and racist most of America is. So that I could be like, see, to all the people who didn't believe me, I'm like, see, now you know.
There you go.
Are you surprised at all by any of these tag moves? The Seahawks are not tagging the Super Bowl fucking MVP. That's just crazy to me.
Does that mean that he's going to get paid?
I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, I think someone will pay him something.
Oh, is he going to walk?
I don't think he's going to get completely frozen out, but I just can't believe like that the Seahawks would let him go to unrestricted free agency. Like, you never let a Super Bowl MVP just like walk. Like, I'm
surprised they didn't pay him all now.
That's what I'm saying. Like Kenneth Walker they've been running him like he finally did what they've been waiting for. He did it. He powered that. I mean, Darnold was great. JSN was amazing, but Walker is the reason they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they need to pay him a top of the market contract, but the fact that they're like not even, they don't seem inclined to pay him at all. I find that, and I do think we've seen that running backs have come back to having value somewhat.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge, you got to pay tons of money to running backs guy, but like, are you shocked by that? Or do you just think,
I think
you're not shocked the Seahawks system? I'm just curious. Like, I was surprised.
It seems like maybe they've got somebody in the looms that we don't know about yet. Maybe that probably brings them the same value, but it's like, if you're a championship team, it makes the most sense to pay the running back. It's not like he's like you're on a bottom feeding team and your running back's the only thing valuable about you. In that case, don't pay him. But you're a championship team. Like the running back's the most valuable part of a championship team.
Especially when he just won Super Bowl MVP and was the focal point of the offense. And it's not like he's 30.
Yeah, he's 25.
Yeah, like this is his first big extension. Like I don't understand not like at least tagging him, keeping him for one more year. I mean, and maybe you don't want to get into the Le'Veon Bell thing, I guess.
Abolish the franchise tag. That's how I feel about everything.
I agree. I agree with that. I hate franchise tags. I don't like any of that shit at all. I hate that shit. It's complete bullshit because NFL players have so few years to make money. And it's good now that they're getting paid in college because they deserve to be paid in college because they're fucking breaking their legs and breaking their arms for these schools that make billions of dollars off the backs of these poor kids. It's literally, that shit is like legalized slavery. Like they literally work these kids to death and make billions of dollars off of them, and they used to see nothing. Like I don't know what else the fuck you call that. And now they're, you know, at least making millions of dollars before they get to the pros, which is good because a lot of those kids may never see the pros. And so now you have kids who are at mid-major schools making real money because a local pizza chain, you know, loves what they do for their, you know, local market. It is what it is. But a player in the NFL has limited time to make money. And the franchise tag, although it pays them nicely, like it's only for one season. And yeah, we're talking about millionaires here, but like in a lot of cases, like, you know, these things get manipulated and used. Not necessarily, it's not like the quarterbacks who are making $50 million that the franchise tag is hurting. It's the running backs that it's been hurt. It's, you know, tight ends and all these things. And teams will just do everything they can to not pay players. And it's just obnoxious. And I agree with you. The franchise tag should be gone. And I'm just surprised that the Seahawks are just like, no, we're not interested. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. See you later. We got Sam Darnold. We got JSN. I mean, I'm
guess it
assuming
might be a factor of JSN's contract coming up. I think that also plays.
That's got to be part of it. I would assume he's going to get the largest contract in history for a wide receiver.
Oh yeah,
I mean, right? Like I would, at least in terms of annual value. Like, he's going to get like 35 to 40 million a season. It's going to be, his contract's going to be stupid.
Neighbors might be up there too, depending on how he bounces back from his injury.
You know, the only thing about Neighbors is the injury stuff.
Yeah,
it's like, you know, it's just like he's so good, but his health is just a problem. But he is awesome. Like he is, you know, dude. Those LSU receivers. You want a good receiver, you draft an LSU receiver.
Unless your name's Kayshon Boutte, and you're just mid.
Oh man, God. The frustrating thing about that game is that the Seahawks were good, but they weren't like overwhelming.
Yeah,
there was still opportunity for the Patriots there, and they just blew it.
Yep.
And you know, Vrabel got out coached. Just all around bummer. What about the Jets transition tagging Breece Hall?
What's a transition tag? I'm not even.
They can negotiate. He can negotiate with another team, but they can match it. So it's like
they got more than
them matching rights, but it's kind of like halfway out the door, you know.
Free Breece Hall. He's too talented to be on this Jets team, man. And like I said, they're not a good team anyway, so they don't need to be paying him all the big bucks anyways.
Yeah, I mean that's where I agree with you. Like teams that are bad, like running backs are a final piece. Like what the Eagles did when they went out and got Saquon.
Yeah.
That's what you do with the running back situation is you go get a really good running back as the final piece to try to win a Super Bowl. I really honest to God believe that. And yeah, for the Jets, it makes no sense. So again, I hope that they pay him $150 million. I want the Jets to do everything wrong. So, you know, I want them to
pay him.
Go back and get Aaron Rodgers again. That would be tremendous. I agree with you. Like the tags are stupid. But I'm surprised at these, you know, the moves. Breece Hall got the non-exclusive tag, and then Daniel Jones Breece Hall got the non-exclusive tag, so he can negotiate with other teams. Daniel Jones got the transition tag, which again is lower, but allows for negotiation. Do you believe in the Daniel Jones season in terms of like, was that real? Or was that a whole lot of smoke and mirrors? That's the same thing that Brian Daboll did, like because you know Daniel Jones was the quarterback when the Giants went to the playoffs a few years ago, and they won a playoff game, beating the Vikings, of course. And that was the Kirk Cousins Vikings. But do you think that the Daniel Jones thing is real and that the Colts should bring him back, or do you think that was just like a one-year aberration, really good coaching staff? You know, because they didn't win shit with Phillip Rivers, and he wasn't even the problem. Like Phillip Rivers, like was halfway decent, And, so I'm just curious, like, do you think Daniel Jones is, capable? Or do you think
Whatever
it was
we
just
did
fake?
see from him in that little brief run, I am not expecting because of what was it, the Achilles, and then he was playing on the fracture as well. I just don't think he's gonna be that same guy when he comes back. So
Yeah.
the answer is no. I don't
So
think.
that's a good point. I mean, that's a long the Achilles rehab process, especially for a quarterback.
And the fracture he had.
Yeah. I mean,
So
that's a lot. That's a 2-year, you know, that's like a 2-year injury. And yeah, I mean, I agree with that. So had he not been injured and he continued to play that way, you would have said the Colts should keep this guy.
yeah, it makes sense. But like he's damaged goods at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. It's going to be interesting to see because, um, I the Colts have been so starved for a quarterback. Now they finally have one. They may have to just bite the bullet and sign him.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to go back into the wilderness.
I even saw they're trying to trade, or Richardson asked for a trade or something like that.
Yeah. Do you think there's any shot for him anywhere? Do you like? I've never been an Anthony Richardson guy. I'm just curious what you think.
Maybe Miami. I guess.
I kind of wonder if the Vikings would trade for him because there was that viral video a few years ago where Kevin O'Connell went up to Anthony Richardson and was like, "You're going to be great in this league. Like, don't worry about being benched. You'll come back. Just keep working." And I kind of wonder if he kind of looks at him and sees something, but it's like, he saw something in JJ. So
it could be a thing.
Could be. Okay, last one. Do you think there's any shot that Tua's career is anything other than just over? Like, I'm sure he'll be a backup or whatever, but I just mean like there was a minute there where Tua was awesome and he got that $200 million for a reason because he had 2 seasons of really, really great play. And I know the concussions and all this, and this last year, the body language is horrible. I'm just curious.
Another guy who's damaged goods in my eyes, and his brain scrambled. I've heard his interviews this year. Yeah, he ain't all up there still. A screw is loose, as they would say. His bread really isn't baked.
Yeah, this game really does fuck these dudes up. Like you get broken by those hits, man. I mean, and
his arm was limited as is.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. It's so funny when he came out of nowhere in college and it was like, oh my God, this guy is obviously going to go number 1 overall. And then when it got to the draft, it was like, well, not really. Like, it's just so funny how like all of those things occur. Like he was someone who he was so good in his first year that everybody was convinced that he was going to be. I remember some articles referring to him as a demigod. I was like, all right, guys, let's settle down. And even that last season, like the LSU Alabama game with Burrow, where they're just like, slinging it back and forth. And, it was like, whatever the final score was, like 49-42, is like, there was always a reasonable argument to be made that this guy could be great. And, it just is never, it's just so, I always wonder, like, did the concussions ruin him? Or was it always not meant to be? And are we just like, is our left-handed quarterbacks just not a thing anymore? Because it just kind of seems like you can't be a lefty and succeed in the NFL. Like, I don't know, the way they block, the way they run routes, it's not working.
As somebody who's a lefty, I'll try not to take too much exception to that.
Hey, I didn't say it about the NBA though. I just said it about quarterbacks.
NBA, there's always gonna be a left-handed legend out there.
Exactly.
NFL,
like
it's few and far between. Still,
I mean, in the NBA, it works. It's like, it's one of the great things about basketball is watching dudes forget that they have to defend the left hand instead of the right hand with some players.
yeah,
And they go to cover the wrong way. And dude's wide open because he's a lefty. Like Harden took advantage of that shit all the time. He would, use people's like baits when he would go right and they would go hard. And that's, just step right back. It's so fucking, as we always talk about here, the Phoenix color commentator for the Suns absolutely hates James Harden. He hates him, and every time he does his radio show, Eddie Johnson, he hates James Harden. And like every time the Suns play James Harden, he's like, "This guy's not fun to watch. I hate watching this guy." All he does, he talks shit about him on his radio show. It's funny as hell, dude. He's just a fucking hater, and certified haterade from that dude. Any NFL hot takes before we yes, there you go. This Kansas City shuffle, except less violent. That's good. That's yeah. The Kansas City shuffle I want to see is Kansas City shuffling their ass to the bottom of the league.
Yes,
that's where we're at. But yeah, any hot takes before we bail on this one, or anything that you've seen at the combine, or anything that you're excited about? I've seen a few people freaking out about that shit, but
my hot take is Justin Jefferson gets traded to the Patriots.
Wow, that's a hot fucking take, man. I don't know
how, I don't know why, but that's my take of the week.
If that comes true, clip that. If that comes true, that's gonna be truly amazing. Like, we're gonna put that all over the place. We're gonna look at the date.
Look at the
March
date.
4th. Justin Jefferson gonna be traded to the Patriots. That would be truly amazing. I mean, that would be the Tom Brady Randy Moss thing, except they're both fucking 25 years old. Yeah. So I mean, that would be
started in Minnesota to the Patriots. That would be tremendous. Yeah.
That would be tremendous. We all know that nobody in Minnesota knows how to treat a star receiver. So and we know that Randy Moss didn't have to use Stickum. So
that's the one, my boy.
Hey, listen, when it's true, baby. If the white glass crystal slipper covered in Stickum fits, then you gotta wear it. So I appreciate you coming on, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We'll see you next week.
Yes, we will. We get to the basketball takes once again. I see.
Oh yeah.
The MVP race is starting to heat up once again.
Yeah, it is. I mean, although I feel like it's between Shea and Jokic, even though Cade Cunningham
they're fighting for their eligibility lives right now.
That's true. That's true. Those missed games, that shit's becoming a real factor in this.
That rule is going to get abolished real soon. It's getting abolished real soon.
I agree. I agree. Or at least
guys making all NBA who have no business making the all NBA, and it's going to increase their ability to make contracts they don't deserve. So
that's true, man. That's true. The injury thing, we've had more stars injured in the NBA this season, I feel like, than in so long. Because I can't think of a time where you've ever looked at like people voting for all NBA and you're like, what the who? Like, there's like dudes who should be 30th or 35th on best player list that are making all NBA third team. And you're like, what is going on right now? And that's like where we are, because it's like so many dudes are hurt. And look, you have the 82 game schedule, then you added the play-in tournament, you added another game there. Like, they just continue to make things more and more difficult. You're gonna have players get hurt.
Yeah,
guys play 40 minutes. We run these dudes into the ground. Kids play so many AAU games that they're injured by the time they even make the NBA. So it's just like, this stuff's going to continue to happen until they accept the fact that they need a 66 game schedule and we need no more back-to-backs. And
but the records, man, you won't be able to break those records without the 82 games.
It's true. You'd have to go on per game stuff, and they're never going to go from 82 to 66. So it doesn't matter, but the injuries will continue or the load management will continue. And they should just change the injury thing to like half the season. If you miss more than half the season, you probably shouldn't be eligible for awards. But if you play 41 games, fuck it. Because like Jokic in 41 games is more valuable than 90% of the league in 82 games. So who gives a shit? Like, and honestly, you know what? If someone is good enough to win MVP and only playing 30 games, let them do it. Who fucking cares? Like, we're way too concerned about these made up artificial things. It's like he can't win MVP. That's a travesty. Like, it's not a travesty. U.S. foreign policy right now is a travesty. Like, Jokic winning MVP is a basketball thing. Like, but we'll discuss all of that next week when we get into MVP discussions and March Madness discussions about teams we don't know anything about because we don't watch college basketball.
I only watch for AJ DeBansta.
That's one of my favorite things to do is discuss those sports like I know. I'm like, well, I don't know. Their defense is pretty good according to this thing I read 30 seconds ago. I watch U of A. I watch my boys, but that's it. But
there you go.
But yeah, man, we'll talk about it next week. I appreciate you coming on, brother.
You already know.
Thank
you for having me. Shout out to the people in the chat participating as well.
Every time. We love you guys. You're the best. You got B as your voice, the voice of the voiceless, because they're text only. There it is.
There we go.
Peace.
Holla.